Good day to you. You know, this is a 400 level research class, comparative media. And so the linchpin of this class is the research paper. This is what your work culminates in. And so the purpose of this video is to assign your research paper and to assign the accompanying assignment called a research proposal. I've changed the syllabus. I've modified the syllabus to reflect this assignment due date, this assignment being assigned today. And also to let you know that the due date for your research proposal is going to be Tuesday. Tuesday by the start of class at 5 o'clock, you must turn in your research proposal to the Dropbox. So let's discuss what this assignment is all about. It's a combined total of 40 points. That's a lot of points. You've got 30 for the paper and you've got 10 for the research proposal. The research proposal is designed to kickstart the research paper. It's designed to get you off to a good start with feedback from the instructor before you go full bore into the research paper. However, to understand both, let's first talk about the research paper. The assignment guidelines for both of them are posted on D2L under the Content tab. You'll see a tab that says Guidelines. You'll see a tab that says Research Paper. And when you click on that tab, you'll see a link that says research paper. And when you click on that link, you'll see two more links, research proposal assignment and research paper assignment. I do want to let you know that there is a sample research paper that's also posted under the content tab so that you can see how another student successfully completed this assignment. All right, so let's talk about the research paper. What's it all about? Here's what you're supposed to be doing. What you're going to be doing is you're going to study a, quote, social theme. A social theme. That may be the hardest part of this assignment for you to understand what a social theme is because I made it up. Okay, I'm using that to describe what I want you to harvest when you harvest from the paper. So here's what a social theme is. You're going to compare a social theme. I'll explain in a moment. A social theme, you're going to compare between two samples of media content. When I say two samples, I mean two television shows, two newspapers, two websites. One of the websites, one of the newspapers, one of the movies, one of those samples is going to be from the United States, and the other is going to be from the country that you have been studying all semester long, which is why you've been studying that country, so that you can become an expert. So you're comparing two media samples. You're not comparing a whole season of television shows. You're not comparing a whole franchise of Marvel movies. You're only doing one sample, one TV show, one song, one newspaper, one sample. That's what you're comparing. But you're looking to compare the social theme that comes out in the media content. What is a social theme? A social theme is commentary on the given country's society that arises from your comparative analysis of the content that you're studying. So it's commentary that comes out. Examples might include the following. Let's say you're looking at two comedy shows, and what you decide to look at for the social theme is what topics are off limits when it comes to comedy and what topics are allowed when it comes to comedy. That's an example of a social theme. Here's another example. Let's say you're looking at two women's magazines. And so what you're looking at is what each magazine says is beauty in a woman. So each magazine is going to have a different view. Body size, color of skin, shape. A lot of these factors will be different in the two magazines. What does each magazine say about female beauty? Here's another one. Comparing two radio newscasts. To look at a social theme of which country has more negative news versus which country has more positive news overall about it. Are the stories about crime or are they about building parks? Okay, so those are examples. Those are examples of social themes. If you have a hard time, we're going to work together on it. I'm going to have a couple classes a couple appointment times where I'm going to be meeting with all students from the class to consult with them on their research papers. When is this due? This paper is due during the final week of class. It'll be posted on the Dropbox on D2L. I have to get the date, and I'll put that in the email that I send out to you. And it's going to be 13 to 15 pages long, double spaced, checked for spelling mistakes, and carefully, very carefully proofread. This is a research paper for a 400 level class. Your paper is going to be broken down into the following categories. They're all listed for you here on the research paper assignment on D2L. The first section is going to be an intro section. It's going to be 1 to 2 pages long. You can read every element that's going to go in there. I'm not going to cover it in the instructor video. It would make it too tedious. It's 1 to 2 pages in there. Then after that comes the literature review. A literature review is where you're looking at what other people have studied in the past about the media in those 2 countries that you're looking at, and where they've come up short, what they haven't looked at that you want to look at, where they've made mistakes in their assumptions, where they've given you something that you can build upon. That's what a literature review is. You've seen what other people have done in the past so that you can build upon that in your own study. Your literature review is going to require you to look at 5 academic journal articles or books. 5 academic journal articles or books. An academic article is not Time magazine. An academic article is a juried article where an author's name was anonymous when they submitted their article to the journal, and it got accepted by a panel who did not know who the author was, and that's why academic journal articles have high integrity. It's going to be like critical studies and mass communication. You can find out from the library journal articles if you have a hard time searching for them. Try not to search in such a narrow way. If you're looking at, say, reality TV programming in your country is the Czech Republic, like you may not find scholarly articles on reality TV programming in the Czech Republic, but what you might find is articles on non-fiction programming on Czech television, and reality TV is just one kind of that. Well, actually, reality TV is actually fiction, but if you know what I'm saying, you cast that net wide if you're not able to come up with specific studies that are an exact match for what your study is going to be. Next up, you have the variables section. The variables section is where you lay out the variables that are going to break down your social theme. If your social theme is to look at beauty, as it is portrayed in a women's magazine, then maybe it breaks down into body size. Maybe it's going to be one element of beauty. Maybe pose is going to be a second element of beauty. Maybe clothing is going to be a third element of beauty, or other things like cosmetics or height or there's all kinds of things that you can say are included in the definition of beauty, but you're the one who's doing that by breaking down your social theme into 3 variables, 3 things that are going to vary, right? Body size can vary, right? Clothes can vary. So you can wear long clothes, short clothes, bright clothes, different color clothes. So variables vary. That's how you're breaking down your social theme. If you smash your social theme with a hammer, the 3 big pieces it breaks into are your variables. Next up is a section where you're going to perform the comparisons of the variables. This is where you're actually looking at the media content, your sample media content. You're saying, in this country's media, you see this, and this, but in the U.S.'s country's media, you see this, and this. You're comparing the variables back and forth. Then that takes you to the conclusion, where you're going to make some larger conclusions about the 2 countries and their media systems. That's all laid out for you here in the assignment guidelines that explain what you should include in your conclusion. Afterwards, you'll have appendices maybe. You're going to include like the characters on a TV show. You're going to include the history of a web page. And then you have a bibliography. The bibliography should be done in one of the accepted standards of style guides, which would be APA, American Psychological Association, MLA, or the Chicago Manual of Style. Your research paper should be written according to one of those style guides. So that's the research paper assignment, but to get you there, we're going to get you started off with the research proposal. So let me say some words about that. The research proposal is worth 10 points. It's getting you started on the research paper, and it's due next class. It's due by 5 o'clock on Tuesday. And the purpose, as I said, is to orient the researcher. That's you. Think of yourself as a researcher. To orient the researcher to an area that can be investigated by comparing 2 samples of similar media content. A research proposal basically sets the parameters of the study so that you can proceed with a tight focus. You're not all over the place. That's what a proposal is. It'll be double spaced. It'll be only 2 pages long, this proposal that you're turning in. It will have 3 components. It's going to have an introduction where you make an opening statement in the intro. You're going to identify the 2 media programs or publications that you want to study. You're going to identify why the 2 media programs or publications are appropriate to compare. What are the similarities that make them appropriate enough to compare? And you're going to identify that social theme that you're studying. And if you need assistance with that, please let me know. That's section 1. Section 2 is to identify the literature that you will be reviewing. You don't have to have read all of your sources, but you need to have your 5 journal articles and your 5 books listed in your research proposal. And make sure you list them in proper bibliographic form, in MLA or Chicago Manual Style or APA. That needs to be, your sources need to be listed correctly in your research proposal assignment. And then finally, speculate. I want you to speculate what you think you'll find in terms of the big similarities and the big differences between the 2 samples of media content. And explain why you expect to find these differences or these similarities based on your reasoning, based on what you know about the 2 countries, based on any personal experiences you have. That's going to get you started. That's the research proposal. I really look forward to reading your research proposal and your research papers.